Morning, badass, JahBunny. Why, JahBunny? The history is so, you know, painful and sorrowful. You know what the prisoners them have to go through. I go through some of it because I go to Punish Town too. And I go to GP and I see how they deal with human beings. I even get treated bad by them. By just going to the pipe, washing my face. Never know at the garden say I should not do that because they carry us to trim us. And so the boy when him Leon give me a box, now me ears, my Lord, the hardest box I ever get. I see darkness, unexpectedly, and I said, what have I done? Him said, you don't know, so you mustn't turn on the pipe of the feeding the condemned prisoner. And the condemned prisoner have to use the water first. So my Lord, I get a touch of what you are saying with the ambulance, even in GP. Boy, when you Mr. Green, that big thick boy, I make some lick after my foot one morning. I wake up, I was going to wash my face, and when they say, I didn't come out in the morning because I get a Bible from some 70s people, and that is 1975. And I was reading the Bible, so I never used to read Bible before. And then it was excited to me to hear certain words from the Bible. That's where I learned about God, out of the Bible. I never used to have the time for God or to look about God. And I hear when them say, step out in on yourself. What, clean up everything, and everybody touch me and say, when I hear that now I jump out and take my big mug. That is about a 4-quart bunk. I take up my big mug, run to catch some water because I was going on fasting by the Bible teach me. And say, well, time after being there 9 months, I say, well, I now drink nothing in the prison, no water, and I eat in the prison. I eat nothing that morning. And when I go and catch my bunker, when I come out, everybody step up and say, I was the only man there walking to the pipe and pull my water coming. And that big, thick boy come down the line, lean him head like an ass, like an amima look fun. And by the boy reach me, boy rush me and make some lick after my foot, my Lord. I have to hopscotch, and say, Mr. Water, what have I done? And say, me not tell you to put on yourself. I said, my Lord, me never hear, you know, and I was in there reading my Bible all the morning. And I just want to catch some water. And I'm sorry, sir. I said, hug after me. The man make about 5 lick after me, you know, my crossway after me 2 foot, you know, whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. They say, me have to hopscotch, you know, man, bump on 1 foot, you know. I go up in the cell and buy them, lock down the cell. Them start to feed the prisoner in the morning there. Yeah. I think that was about 10 o'clock in the morning. All the prisoners, them already gone. Who could go court in the Black Maria. And when I look, as I reach my cell, me there 32 cell, 31, yes, 31 cell me there. The cell start from 32. And as I reach my cell, so I open it to take the food after the diet thing. That time I sacrilege them and carry the diet thing. I was there at that time. Sacrilege was the one carrying the diet thing. Never happened to talk to sacrilege in the prison neither. Understand? And when me say, me not take no and say, you don't want no food on the prisoner, then say, take it man, you may beat you up. Through him the only lick after you and you never everything I beg. So me just take it and give the prisoner them inside. You know, see it, and by the time he lock back the cell here and say, Harold Mitchell. And my hands on him say, your name so? And I say, yeah, you're lucky. Like the boy have a plan to come murder me. Boy say, me lucky. And you know, me come out and go to Mr. Case. Mr. Time and Mr. Case are the director of the prison. Mr. Case see me, yeah. Michelle, you be the people there. They know everything about you. They will be the people there. I say, my God, I say, God and my will be a man. Yeah. So, then say, God is my will be a man. You know, I go that morning, I didn't go in the Black Marina, I go right through the prison gate. Right up, out on the Harbour Street there. Yes. And like they did handcuff me. I said, what is sacred? But I did vision the freedom, you know, flying away from prison. And now then capture one named Tony Rock, we have a cut in him face. Yeah. And beat him up and blood jumping on the vision. You know, I get up every morning, man used to come to me, come tell me vision and come hear my vision and I interpret and I see I go. And I do some man go in a car where they have the smallest man was in the car was a sergeant, a big policeman. Boy, I sang me and the big man said, give him a door for himself. I said, what is so? I said, boy, they look like they want to see me run to shoot me. And then get way to the case go. But the case called up and I was not there. When I go in the court, the policeman, when I go and eat, or food come, I don't eat no food. 12 o'clock in my cell. You know? I remember I use the toilet there. And when I go to the justice panel, I try the case to shot. Wicked judge there. Time I go, they go see Cecil Gibson, you know. The one in a bank robbery at Constant Spring. He was there. Yes. And one they called Jack Green one. You know? The man of bank robbery, but he did it for long, much life in the pan. You know, see, they call me Angel because I say me is an angel of God, so the man take it like a nickname and I laugh after me. And say a woman an angel. And I say you have man angel too, man. And you know, I did all the names say and don't bother feel no way. And when I go, just call up and say, Mitchell, you're in court, you're in custody so long. You don't have anybody here. He said, no, I'm from the country, no, Your Honor, please. And my grandfather, I live with and grandmother. And my grandfather Kevin C. You know? And I'm here the only right hand man. Him say, what you do at home? He said, we went try to come look some work, you know, Your Honor, please, and things. You see. The big man in the courtroom is a policeman, like he's a police sergeant. The one that dressed in the white at a Queen Council them. He said, Your Honor, I don't know how Mitchell gets into this now because he's so humble and manageable. He don't give trouble like other prisoner. I don't know how he get into this. I say, you don't have anyone to bail him? I say, no, Your Honor, I don't have anyone to bail him. I now make you know I come from town. Right. The sergeant say we stand security for me. $500 bail, them time $500 big money for dollars and cents. No much long coming. 1969 dollars and cents coming. Remember we used to dive dollars and cents at Seaside. And that was 75. 1975. And the man stand bail for me, you know. All that time when the man stand bail for me, afraid say me no want to come back to court, you know. And you know, him say, you must not let down the officer, you know. He say, no, Your Honor, please. Write a circuit me there. I come back to court and I come back to court, but coming back to court, I try to spy out the place if I see the witness or anything. I'm say if I see the witness, I go away, I come for me see a man did there and come back and get 20 years. Get bail and come back to court and get 20 years. When me, General Stark left me there now. General Stark, he was upstairs. I think I'm at the bottom. Yeah, I've been out. Yeah. Then I start upstairs, me downstairs. Sacrilege at the same time. Yeah. And when me check out, you know, I got a quote prior to this, I don't see nobody under the Superman try sleeping. And they call the complainant and call me name and say, Michelle, your complainant does not come. I will extend your blade and drop my bill to $100. You don't see it and say, I extend your bill. And he say, go country, go and go plant cane. I tell him, I tell my brother. He say, go country, go plant cane. And I say, yes sir, and I please, the little shot, judge. That's a justice panel. Oh God, my Lord, that day, when I come out, I first me cry. I never cry when I go to jail. No. But the day when I get the first bail, and see me come out on King Street, I cry, I say, brethren, all the cry, I try to talk. Crying come over full with joy. Yes. And when I tell you, say, go plant cane, I say, all right, I'll tell you, let me go. Me nah go back on the court. Me no go back on the court. And after that, you know, we reach a Bobo Hill, 1976, because I come out there in 1975, drop in 76. Right, yes, come out right in 1976. And I go up across where I don't bother go trench zone. I start to Rasta, I go back here, I go up a trench, up Bruce's theater there. Bruce's bakery, Patty Bakery. That's when locked down on the big building there and one was control and live and me live up there so now that time. Pass through jungle. Yeah, when I pass through jungle, I see General Starkey there. When I come out, left me in a prison there too. Time in locks it long, but this time Starkey trim now when he come a road. I'm a General Starkey. And I pass through one boy with a cut nine JahBunny always want, like he want to take it. But I'm not like him, no know me. But he know me, I call me big boy. And Starkey said, left the man. Me murder you, you know. I saw Starkey said to him, you know. And I saw the boy just cringe up and gone and look. That right on Rodney Street. Boy, the tall boy, they have the gold teeth. Them boy, they was the right hand there, so. But on Rodney Street, I just so many live, so many, but I go back to Rodney Street, go live. Yeah. Just a bomb and go across road. Yeah, the furniture men take out the coats. Yeah, give them back because I don't pay for them. You see, but through so long men left and never pay the deposit. Just give them back the furniture. Yeah, and there's a soldier move now, a Bruce's. Don't have a bed or nothing. And I supply a dread from Friendship Lane up across road. I tell me if you remember about Prince Emmanuel in the Queen's Theatre. The both of them. He said, he live on a mountain, way up on a mountain at 10 miles. He go 9 miles, go up 10 miles from the city for 1 mile from my 9 mile road. And I say, you know, I want to go to that place where I go on. At them time, I want to left out of the city, even crossroad can't hold me. And I go all up in Maryland. You don't see it when you go up August, Garden Town way. Maryland. And I say, I go up on a hill, I go live and I never like the place. I say, I want to go where the congregation there. And so I left and go Bobo Hill, my Lord. So, when me hear you talk the history, I know what you're talking. Yes. When I go to Punishtown, I only 14 days may get one time. When they will me and Stuart them. And who again? Yes. 14 days, I think, started them in Palm and Sunday the youth. But then I go to school and run her back. You see, me know the man give me big man age. The eyeglass, and I don't have a glass. God know me innocent. But we are going from Queens, we are coming from Palace Theatre. Queens, one from Punishtown Road. that theater there. I think I then called Queen's Theater. Palace Out Pan, South Camp Road. Yeah. And they have a midnight show, the triple bill. And so we are come, we say we now go up at 21. Time with our 7th Street there. Which part, 7th Street, we in control a room, we in security them there. And right at Cora Yard. You know, see. And we say we now walk up the same night, right late, and we have to go pass through too much place. So we are going to seaside now, go rest on Charlie Mattress boat. And that's how the boy Greenswood, Jack Crew come corner with a mattress lane. Carry a Central, and then him sit short with the and me tell the man, say we give everyone away one eyeglass, you know. Make every man wear a glass. And I think we go, you know, and I try to reach out with the glass. And that mean a jail and get 6 weeks. Judge saying find me guilty and me tell me never have a glass. Really never have a glass. Then I wicked them, you know. I get 6 weeks and the day a Central. The 4 weeks I'm in humble myself now and then know me did it. And then one man me hear they go back and say, well, you hide from me, man. You don't want to go touch the prison. And boy, they got punished for 14 days. I do 14 days in Panishtown. Right on the big room top of where Marcus Garvey sell there. Where them say them Marcus Garvey will come out and it's still under lock. Yes, my lord. So when me hear your history where you talk, come like me not go through nothing yet. It's so painful. And as some know say from the cell to the button stick. I can remember one of the prisoners we go down with when they have surgery and take with clothes and everything. So the morning now when they have take with clothes we have on, then carry in our room. Yes, they have give with the bullocks. And carry in a room and say every man must come with them clothes. Because before that the big water look down and say, if anybody have anything, give it to me, you know. Everybody put on clothes and have none. So the man when he said, no, we're going to wash the clothes. Every man have to come with his clothes. We're in a bullocks now and search. I'm going to search every man clothes. Me have a shilling. A shilling and 10. No. 10 cents. Yeah, me have 10 cents. I push it in my pants. Yes, for jeans me have on. Put it through my pants. And should be right down right on the side. Under the loop. You know that part, it's tough hard to feel out. So I push my 10 cents under there so. The nether man, them tell me to keep money so I can buy shag and thing, you know. The next one when he Richard Pate. He push him down in his pants front. Down in the part where the zip there, them part there. Him now look like he got prison regular, so when the warder see him say, why you love you, eh? Oh, you love you, so? You come back already? He give him a special search. When he find him say, what is you? Man, no money, you know. Anybody have any money, you know, go like it. God, the man find 10 cents in a man's pants face. The man beat him and lick out the man's teeth. He broke a button pan him, he used another one, he beat him, tell him drop a ground, and when he drop a ground, he beat him, tell him blood up. Lord God, when I see that, I never prayed in my life. So I start to pray for myself, Lord, I don't think I can just stand up and take this liquor and fight back. And then that kill me if I fight back. But me buck up one man, got prison when I come out at 2 plaster polish. He put 2 foot in there. Carry them and lift him, put him in a vehicle. Damn say God Almighty, we go out and beat him. You know, see. And all the time I get a big box from that, they want to name Leon. Indian boy there. Yeah. And then I go through me. So I tell you, say, I pray. But after that, man, we get mashed up now. I forget search, you know. When the man come and search me, see the man give me back my pants. Lord God, I'm glad that my heart I want to buy la, but I hold it. I'm glad I thank you, Lord. Hey, I pray so glad. If I couldn't think I could imagine the same kind of man broke up, you know. Then sent him and having in one pants and on a teeth in teeth. You see. So, what you are saying, knowing so when I condemn prisoner, I know say, the angle no like a lion, like a, when they say them open a lion den. I saw the angle, you know. Yeah, they no good, no chance, you know. My Lord. So, when I hear your history, it bring me right back to the memory and it thrilled my soul that I say Babylon is a wicked because when you treat man so when they come back a road, why shouldn't they kill you? Eh? You're set with to kill you and hate society completely. So in a rehabilitation system, them supposed to treat the prisoner them more with more love and passion that them can become good. If you go angle them so close, they're gonna have revenge. So what you say is natural, my lord. It's only who feels it, knows it. We cannot love society to what they have said and what they have done for us. You understand? They pressure us, they tear us apart. They make you have no love for humanity. You want to kill everything we look like Babylon. My Lord. It's true you're talking, JahBunny. This last history where you talk there, it is so thrilling, my Lord. More love and life. But give thanks we are alive. God chose us a special being. That's why we live today. Man dead and never reach the age 17. Some never reach not even 16. You understand? And we go through more and with them go through and God still keep us alive. God love us. And God make we wise because we move smart. That's why we never get in the hands of the spear and the bayonet, the gun and bayonet. We are there, but God make we could move from the spear, the point of it. Thank God for you, my Lord, and for me and Goose and all the man that travel with us. God bless us to be here today. More life and love, my King. I don't have a place for myself to live here. I hitch up in a little place where you'll never come to me. And that's where I am. I don't get to build myself a little place. You know, I don't have a piece of land. Because things then get licked up. And the land is expensive. Yes, my Lord. As men say, 1,000 US, that is about 10,000 Ghana, can give you a plot of land. That is quarter acre. You know, see. Now, to build a house on it, you have to go have at least another 5,000 US to build a nice little concrete room. Yeah? Yeah, because everything is so expensive. You have to buy steel, you have to buy the block. I don't learn much them sell the block for when they make. But what I see the people them do, they buy the sand, 1,000 CDs for a truckload of sand. In that time when I come, I don't know if it raised, you know, if everything raised now. So it's about 1,200 for a truckload of sand. And then now the block is for, the cement is for 100 CDs. And you have to pay some little man who make the block, who have the block mouth. If you're making it yourself, you have to pay them 15 CDs a bag for using the cement make the block. And 4 barrels sand to 1 bag of cement. Those blocks are very soft. You can punch it and mash it up, you know. But I then use. I don't know how much I lend to the steel. So I need a place. I need a place to live. I don't live. I know I'm going through a rough life here, my Lord. So I'm more life and love still. I do glad for what you have done already for me. More
Death
life and
Row
love, King.
by Maria Hector. Chapter 4 Runnings. Narrated by JahBunny, better known as the Badass, the man from Buzzwalk. Runnings is a Jamaican term for everyday activity geared to one's own survival. Yeah, so we always have a runnings, you know. In those early days, most of the prisoners on the row were older people. They perpetrated the myth that the prisoners of the row could do nothing to influence the ultimate decision of one's case and survival. They encouraged the idea that all one ought to do was pray, sing, fast, and have faith. This formula did not appeal to the younger prisoners, some of whom had been done great injustice and were inclined to be militant in their approach to survival. There was this bird, a screech owl, that happened to have a nest nearby and flew over the prison at night. Occasionally, it would fly over the row and disappear over the walls that surrounding the gallows. The elders had a thing about this bird. If while flying over the row, the bird happened to screech 3 times in quick succession, it would immediately be construed by the bird watchers as a sure indication that someone was going to be executed. If the bird made one long screech, they would all get excited, this being construed as the sign that someone on the row would get away. When they were not busy bird watching or singing and praying, they occupied themselves interpreting each other's dream. Invariably, each of them had a dream every night. The young prisoners were more concerned with the more mundane and immediate fact of their own predicament. Accordingly, our debate were around how to save our life by any means necessary. Most of us believe even then that we would have to personally contribute to any relief that might be forthcoming. Babylon did not have us pack away on the road because it was concerned with our welfare and interests. We had been selected for gallows bait, and any escape via the courthouse or through the ventilator and over the walls demanded more than kid gloves approach. Consequently, there was a conflict of opinion and attitude on the road between the youths and the elders. These differences, however, did not affect the comradeship shared on the road. A particular feature of our relationship on the road in those early days was the fact that you would live next cell to a man and would reason with him for months, come to know his voice, other things about his case and self, but you would never get to know his face. You would never see him. In the 3 minutes break in the morning, you would not allow to peep through the Judas hole at any other cell, of any other cell. Nor could the prisoners inside the cell peep through and see the others on the ward. Not unless you want your face smashed. The most one could do was volunteer a description of oneself to the others. It was after almost 3 months living on the road that I got to know what the brother on both sides looked like. This was another feature of the institutional torture. As the day passed, I discovered a art rendering diversion from the monotony of the row by lying on the floor with my face level with the floor. Ventilator, I had an undisturbed view of number 1 block, which was directly across and run parallel with A1, about 50 yards away. I spent many hours, day and night, at this ventilator, looking across at number 1 block, and in particular at the notorious big room and the daily run of affair. Prisoners entering the prison, except those of our status, are often or until processing located at number 1 block. Daily, I gazed across and saw the systematic degradation and dehumanization of the prison society Babylon imposed on those branded criminal and unfortunate. There is a central room for the warehousing of those prisoners, the big room. The name is an euphemism for a 26-foot by 20-foot garbage bin. I have seen them pack more than 100 young, old, sick, insane, first offender, recidivists in the room. Here, they slept 6 men to 2 mattress, turned crossway on the floor. The heat and odor from this room are unbearable. When this room was packed solid, the surplus of human being was hardened off to the south block. Another garbage bin at this section. Up to 70 men were housed in a passage between the cells. They slept on mattresses on the floor, 3 men to a mattress. Some stand up and sleep, others sleep on the step. Until then, I had never seen men sleep on beams that run across the ceiling and after tying themselves secure, retire for the night. Stranger yet was the sight of dozens of prisoners bunched together, sleeping on their feet. There was no toilet or running water in the big room. They gave the prisoner half of an old oil drum with angle and without any cover to function as a communal latrine. Water was stored in 3 old kerosene pans, filled in the evening and used by all. Every morning the scene was the same. Come unlock. Tougher, more bullying and violent prisoners would coerce and threaten the weaker or mentally deranged prisoners into carrying out and emptying the half drum filled with the night waste. By the time the bearers reached the uppers in the open yard, almost all the waste was spilled all over the place, filled the morning air with the stink of shit. The trustee would arrive on the scene and curse hell out of everybody as he had to supervise the cleaning up operation. Sometimes the trustee would himself knock over the bearer with, with his broom, at which time the warder would intervene. Tomorrow it would happen all over again. Often at night I would be awakened by scream coming from the big room. Sometimes it was a homosexual trying to rape an innocent, naive young prisoners. Somebody had stolen something. A madman had overturned the communal latrine and was being mobbed. Or there was a fight over possession of a blanket or a mattress. On such occasion, the warder would organize a posse and proceed to beat hell out of any prisoner who had happened to be nearest to the door. This was the world I had been introduced into, where nobody cared 2 cents whether you live or die, whether you were raped or knifed, whether you got worse or better, whether you were sane or crazy, whether you survived or went under, and it did not matter whether you were on death row, general penitentiary, or in the big room. You were a criminal, a prisoner, a non-person to be brutalized, degraded, subjected to all manner of oppression in the name of social security, law, order, and justice. What the punks in parliament and the big shots do not realize is that this institutionalized degradation and brutality only serve to assure the further breakdown of law, order, society security. My first exposure to death on the road was a strange affair that further served to impress upon my consciousness the severity of the situation that surrounded me. Ranford Solomon was about 5'8", of dark complexion and reasonable build. He was convicted for the murder of some people at Copper's Hill in the white people section of St. Andrew. His appeal to Justice Court of Appeal, his appeal to the Jamaican Court of Appeal was dismissed. And because of public outrage at the crime, he entered no optimistic hope. He lived 6 cells to my left at number 21 and was regarded as a sort of celebrity on the ward, being the most publicized con on the road. Earlier in 1972, the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in England refused this case. The refusal was released to the news media, and when the sound hit the grapevine, Solomon was one of the first to hear. That afternoon, a cool water was working, and some of us went on the ventilator above the door, getting some fresh air and discussing Solomon's case. As it happened, the warder had a newspaper and was reading it inside the sentry box. Solomon shouted to him, asking if there was anything about him in the paper. The warder simply held the paper so that we could see the front page. That was enough. He did not have to say a word, for the headline said it all. Solomon time was up. This final confirmation generated an atmosphere of tension like nothing I have ever experienced. The air was alive and throbbing with the shadow of death, and I am sure every prisoner on the road was affected. That night, the elders had no singing, bird watching, or interpretation of dream, nor did the youths discuss any politics or courthouse talk. Tonight was different, for death had polluted and hung heavily in the air, forcing every man consciousness to his own predicament. Before daybreak, Solomon was up and very talkative, keeping up a monologue about himself and the system. After a while, he called to another prisoner on the row about 12 cells away. Edward had never exchanged a word with Solomon from the time he had first came to the row. They had some confrontation from before my time. Now Solomon called Edward to tell him that he had forgiven him and asked that Edward should do the same. After this exchange of forgiveness, Solomon slipped back into his monologue. It was a resolve to kill himself that he had been working up since before daybreak, and he was doing well. No wonder was go- no wonder was going to rejoice at his downfall. No hangman was going to make any bread off his head. And most important to him, he was going to pull the last one on Babylon. He repeated these points several times. Then he made a shocking confession. Years ago, I had committed a murder, and as it turned out, an innocent man was convicted of the crime and had been executed for it. When Solomon came on the row, the innocent man whose name was White was alive and awaiting the result of his final appeal and lived a couple of cells away from Solomon. Though they both shared comfortable rapport, Solomon never mentioned the murder to White for fear that White would use it to free himself and add more dirt to Solomon's grave. White was never to know that the man he had discussed his case with, the same man who he had often given him advice, was the man who had done the murder he was to die for. White was hung in one of those executions that legends are made of. When they came for him that morning to hang him, the man was on the top of the building, stark naked, and nobody could explain just how he had got there. Most people said it was Obia. A fire unit was summoned, and he was hosed down from the roof and executed amid lightning and pouring rain. Solomon's confession, coming when it did, could help neither White nor Solomon. All it did was to generate a deep contempt amongst many of us towards Solomon. The man just did not value life, not his nor others. By then he was ready to hang himself. When he made the first plunge from the ventilator above the door, to which he had fixed the rope made from his blanket the rope broke and he fell with a crash to the floor. And hearing the fall, I was inclined to believe the guy was joking. The error was mine, for he was serious, dead serious. By then the day staff had arrived for the morning body count. Solomon was alive. Then we making his rope, and like everybody else, he responded to the shout of "Hands out!" by putting out his arm to be count. Thus, the warder got the right muster and was none the wiser as to what was happening. If Solomon wanted to hang himself, it was his business. I could not decide what I did do in similar circumstances. It was his life. As soon as the warder left, Solomon made his second and final plunge. This time the rope held straight away. There were clear sounds of his struggling. Did he decide he did not want to die? Or was it death that he was doing back with? First the sounds were loud and instant. Then gradually it becomes softer, 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 and silent. The silence stayed heavily, and nobody had the urge to say anything. Death had passed through. Even when the morning exercise of unlock began, nobody said a word to the warder. Those let out before Solomon's door was unlocked went about business as usual. When the warder came to Solomon's door, one look was enough to send him bolting down the block. A person convicted of murder and sentenced to death may choose to pursue one of the following course. He may, as is usual done, enter an appeal to the Jamaica Court of Appeal as the first appeal, or to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council in London, or to our local Privy Council. An appeal to the Jamaican Court of Appeal is generally made after conviction in the circuit court. Such an appeal is made in dispute and points of law that have led to conviction. This court is not concerned with whether or not a particular bit or all the evidence is true, false, or even reliable. The concern of this court is to test the propriety of the proceeding that led to the conviction and ascertain if the law were duly observed in the trial process. The appellant case is presented here by an attorney in the absence of the appellant. An appeal to the local Privy Council is generally made after the appeal has been refused by the Jamaica Court of Appeal. Such an appeal is not made in contest to the conviction, but rather a petition for executive clemency. No attorney is allowed to represent a case before this body. Petition is done by the prisoner through the prison authority to the Privy Council. An attorney or a person on the outside may petition this body on the prisoner's behalf. It is generally accepted that such an appeal should indicate one's guilt first, then beg mercy. An appeal to the Judicial Committee of the Privy Council is the constitutional right of every prisoner on the row who had a case. The brother on the row label it the rich man appeal. I found it typical of the contempt for the right of the poor and the double standard employed to disguise the class bias of the judiciary as a tool of Babylon. In accordance with the provision of the former purpose litigation, legal aid is provided in certain of Babylon cases at the parliamentary inquiry, the circuit trial, and the Jamaican Court of Appeal. No provision is made for legal aid to attend the necessary legal affair inherent in the appeal process. Consequently, of the odds assortment of prisoners warehouse on the row, I cannot remember four who were able to employ the necessary service of the process. Of the majority who could not enjoy the right of this appeal because of their financial status, I remember most vividly the case of Clifford Gray. Clifford, a youth in his early 20s, was convicted of a knife slaying, murder, and sentenced to death. He appealed to the Jamaica Court of Appeal, and his case was dismissed in the preliminary inquiry, trial, and appeal to the Jamaica Court of Appeal. He had depended exclusively on legal aid. Now that he wanted to appeal to the Privy Council in London, he expected that the legal aid attorney who had been assigned to his case until then would attend to the necessary filing of his papers. Gray was illiterate, and I wrote to his attorney for him explaining Gray's position and asking him to attend to the papers on his behalf. The attorney promptly replied that he would file the papers for the appeal only if he was retained. When I read the letter to Gray, he broke down and wept, for neither he nor his family could come up with the cash. 2 months later, they came for Gray and executed him. How would it have ended if he had got his right to appeal? If only he had some money. By then, I had attached myself to the local grapevine. Soon learned that even on death row, one could get such things as cigarette, ganja, envelope, stamp, writing paper if one had the bread. The foundation of the grapevine rests for the most part a determination and comradeship of the prisoners in the yard. No matter which village, city, or corner of Jamaica you were from, there was always a con in the yard from your corner. Once he knew you were on the row and were where your cell was, he did walk past in the yard and shout you any bit of information, important news. If you did got money, he did buy your stuff and risk the judgment of a riot button to get it to you on a line. As soon as anything important broke, we did be the first to hear. Some of them were classed as trustee and informer, But this did not stop them from posing letter for us. This did not stop them from posting letter for us and passing us information. One guy in particular was a dangerous informer who was feared by the prisoners in the yard. Yet this same guy, because he was so close to the authority as an informant, was the first to reach me with any news of importance. A most particular feature of our relationship with the cons in the yard was the notion that was at its base. If a prisoner on the row was innocent, and this fact was validated by the street word, they would collectively sympathize with his situation and as such would take serious risks to make life less miserable for him on the row and to beat the rap. If the prisoner was guilty of the crime, depending on the nature of the crime, they relate to him as if he was a little different from them. The fact that they were collectively opposed to capital punishment did not alter the contempt and disgust they held for a prisoner on the row who had done certain kind of murder. For instance, public opinion in the prison was against those prisoners on the row who had committed infanticide, rape, and murder committed to gain possession of a woman. Feelings also run against ex-policemen or ex-security guard. Although this line of morality promulgated by prisoner opinion was not necessarily consistent with that of his broader society, it was nonetheless important to our existence and survival on the road, as it determined whether or not your illegal mail were posts, your contraband purchase and traffic to you, or whether or not the trustee pass on money from your visitor to you. Most important, this public opinion determined whether or not the trauma of your predicament was further increased by the contempt and disgust or significantly decreased by the assistance and comradeship of the community. There was this ultra sadist known as the Funk, who was the terror of death row. I had often seen him pass by and heard from other prisoners on the row gory tale of his capacity for degradation and sodomism. He always went about the prison with his selected trustee, a notorious Pennsylvania rapist homosexual. A few steps behind him, the Funk and his lackey in appearance present a picture that would be an asset to the most bizarre horror movie. The Funk had some kind of illness that compelled him to spit every second. It did not matter whether he was in his office or on the ward. He just had to spit. True to his sadistic nature, the Funk just loved to spit on prisoners. Consequently, at his approach anywhere in the yard, prisoners would scurry from his spot. Some said he spat so much because prisoners from the condemned cell had broken his jawbone in a struggle before he was executed, and that the funk jawbone was reinforced by a foreign material that caused him to spit so much. Whatever the case, the funk just had to spit. Occupying the rank of overseer, the funk was charged of the upkeep of the gallows and generally welfare of the prisoners on the row. He saw to it that the death machine was kept oiled and tuned, that the grave were dug and the coffin prepared, that the scaffold victim were ready, and he was a parliament future of the institutionalized torture proceeding at the prison. It was his favorite boast that he had arranged and supervised the execution of more than 60 prisoners convicted of murder and would eventually make his century. I was potentially addition to his quota. One morning just before midday meal, my meditation was broken by the opening of the lock on the door. Since I had heard no knocking on the wall, I knew it was not a visit. I was wondering what the occasion was when the door opened to reveal the funk standing there as large as life and ugly as sin. If Satan should desire an appropriate human form, the funk was the best. Jump out! Ordered one of the warders who accompanied him. The funk stood there staring at me through bloodshot eyes. Nobody said anything, and I was about to make a speech. The funk spat on the ward. Nobody said anything. Silent. Another spat. What religion you belong to, son? He asked, toning down the gravel in his voice to a level and becoming of his grotesque appearance. I do not belong to any particular one, sir. That is good, he replied. Then spat. That is very good. You believe in reincarnation? No, sir. That is good, man. That is good. In a voice that had suddenly become hard and threatening, for when I broke your fucking neck, you're going nowhere except behind the kitchen. His eyes were twinkling now as the accompanying warden broke into a toothy grin at my conspicuous discomfort. You see me, boy? As if I could miss his ugly mug. Look at me, for I'm going to be the last face you see pan earth. I am going to be your judgment. He paused to spit, and if a squeak he constructed as a laugh. Do not bother make up your face and fret, 'cause I won't hurt you. Another spit. You see like oh you're slim? I will give you right amount of certain a weight and you won't feel a thing. Another spit is how much people you kill, boy, he asks. I kill no one, sir. All right. Is how much people them say you kill. One, sir. Well, you're going to pay for it with your life. And no matter how much people you kill and how bad you is, once you go on my plane, the gallows, one time you're gone. Another spit. We soon make meat boy turning away and do not fret, 'cause you're not going to feel any pain at all. Lock him down. No, I must say, the little part there kind of tickle me. 'Cause guess what? Me know the punk. Me know him. Between him and a man named Mr. Scott, better known as Scaramouche. Scaramouche run NCB. The funk run Gala's house. In a Spanish Town prison at the time, I think the funk and Scaramouche was the two most feared, sadistic warders. Nobody no play with Scaramouche. Nobody no play with the funk. Scaramouche is so bad that maybe I may get that kind of approach from when me talk, no dog, no bark. When Mr. Scott talk, no dog, no bark. No, to Mr. Scott is a Mr. Scott and the funk. The two of them are two proper sadists. They no chat to prisoner. Between Mr. Scott take I, Olo, Kuta, Jubipai, Surge, Zion, see, pay bad juvenile. Mr. Scott take away. And Mr. Scott say, badass, I want you control the compound. I'm going to go into the history now. A badass control compound. Compound is outside of the prison oval opposite Spanish Town Hospital. And me in charge. At the time, I'm 14-year-old. And I'm me in charge. You have to know my levels now. Olo and Juby Pie in charge of NCB. A Juby Pie and Olo lock we down. Me not complain. A them run the block. A me run compound. So because me run compound, me show you where my rating come from now. Because me run compound and I'm in charge of compound. Every bad man want be my friend. Cause I'm me select who come from my detail. So I'm going to think. So obviously, Kuta, I'm a right hand. Yeah. One I'm a right hand. Now, my detail, me gonna know now. All countrymen that move from outer street in a prison come through badass. Nothing going on it. And me make all things happen in a prison. When top man like death row man when escapee man like Kappa, Maloney and them man there. Me see some boy sometime come go on like you want mud up my name. Man, you can't mud me up. Me a tell you how it things set now. Every top tier gangster, when them get visit, them send them visitor over compound. Go check the ass. So if you forget that, or you forget this, or you forget that, it have to come through I. Go ask the man them. My name good. That's why Jamaica so silent when me attack. Because every piece of meal we left off of Gibraltar, we left off of death row, and me mail them. Every stamp, every envelope, every pen we go in a Gibraltar, up on death row, and me send them up there. You hear me say? Everything every man forget from Warwick and Hill, name it, from your top tier man. One thing them say, after them get them visit, go check badass. And that was a network where we have set. Yeah, that's what you call the underground network. Me run the underground network. Me tell you say, my brethren them keep tip-a-tone dance over prison oval. And I mean at the bar all night. Me tell you that already. I wanna go there wonder. Me Kyle so thick. Me Kyle so thick. That all certain water when them broke mid-month. I have to pull up on badass and say, lend me a thing till payday. And me a the man. Lend me a thing till payday. Yeah. And badass dip. Them time them not 15 yet. So me I tell you say a long time me stay. Oh, me stay. And the funk, me just start about a little while, you know. And it bring out that out of me remember who the funk is and how the funk, you know, because everybody afraid of the funk, you know. And the funk rate the ass. Everybody afraid of Scaramouche, you know. And Scaramouche rate the ass. Oh, you have Scaramouche. And oh, could I forget this? When me I talk, me I give respect to the man them too, you know, because the man them are real bad people too, you know, and I like badness. Some man thinks that badness are just one way. Scaramouche a real bad officer. We heavy gangster afraid of Mr. Scott. Then you have a next command named Mr. Mack. Him was the one in charge. Him work under Mr. Scott. Him work and him in charge of prison oval detail. Him not chat to prisoner. That's the kind of saddest him is. Him put I in charge. If me I talk to you as a prisoner and you not listen to me, then at the end I that for you, cause anyhow Mr. Mark here said, you dis anything me say. And I'm foot broke. I saw the thing set. Certain man want come on the detail. And I'm a virgin them, but I can't bring them because them too wild. Yeah. And then I done up the program. Yeah. Because the program. Yeah. If you think I lie, me I tell. Go ask Uncle Randa. Go ask him. Cause him see me in action. And him know say we run. Hey, a network, you know. If you think I lie, me I tell. You have Shotty Mark father, Junior. Go ask Junior. Junior know them style and know say, a good boy. Yeah. Can we rude, you know? But with discipline, with rudeness. So, and I like say we just diss people. Cause if we never rude, we couldn't control a network there. You have to have discipline. Cause it's not about me. It's about the man them pan death row. The mail have to come through. They must forget post. They must forget stamp. They must forget certain things. So I have to have people for the network I run. Certain things I come from out of Rockfort and it end up over Prison Oval and it end up in a Gibraltar because raps them a plan a escape. Yeah, copper them a plan a escape and Dongle and them and the man them a plan a escape and we as juvenile. Mm. And we are facilitate certain things. Cause we are the hit squad them time there now. Me a part of the hit squad. Cause we have to have a hit squad in the bigger scheme of things. Cause you have some bad boy in a prison that way. Would I want running up on some man, but the man them time a touchdown. If I lie, me I tell go ask Lefan Donovan from Jordan. If I lie, me I tell go ask Sapper. Shorty lie the big brother, Sapper. Because a Sapper, me did learn trade under Sapper while me da prisoner now. Because Sapper is a master tailor. Chiquita big brother. A West Kingston history, me still a talk, you know, regardless how me talk it. Whether me there prison, whether me there America, wherever me there, a West Kingston history. Me a press. Me no have no other history. But you see how me read so far and everything jiggy. But the funk. Cause the way Freddy describes the funk look why like me a see man. You know? So I say respect goes out to Pre-Saral. Pre-Saral are going to introduce this piece here and make on a hear theme connection. And I have to say, big shout out to Jubby Pie, better known as Preacher. Yesterday I rapped with him. And you know, me and him have a little, me and Jubby have a little rapport yesterday. Because more time I test my skill, you know, but I see how much man name me can remember from NCB. NCB was 59 of us. Sometimes I sit down and remember 30 man name. And that's good at my age. Yesterday I reel off some name on Mr. Perkins, you know. Yeah. So I have to give big maximum shout out to Junior, which is Shotty Mark father, Mr. Perkins, Kuta as Spangler, and Olaskiow. Yeah, I have to say. And I don't want any man with it there with I know hear him name call, feel no way no. Because if you hear your name call, man, your grandfather, your grand youth and watch the program, you can't tell them, say, go in the comment and heal up Mr. Ass and identify who you is to I, cause some man remember more than some man, because it is a active team, because even though the whole are within a NCB, within the 59 man were in there, a oneness network was there, but also there was other things going on where is and I need to know basis. And with that said, I'm gonna move on now to the next chapter. So until such time, keep it tuned.